All right, this is Chris from Chris Comments. Welcome back. Just a couple of things to talk about today, starting with the Dallas Cowboys game versus the Giants last night. Or yesterday. It was really good. Cowboys won. My Texans didn't do too bad. They didn't lose by much against the Bills. But that's all right. It's all right. We're not expecting much out of the Texans this year. We weren't expecting much out of the Cowboys either, but they've been turning out to be pretty good. They're not the best in the league and all this stuff. Well, they're top of their division right now. Okay, of their division. But it's obvious that we've got a little bit ways to go. But the main thing that I want to bring up is because everybody's jumping on the Cowboys for this. And that's nothing new. I want to clear this up right here and now. Everybody hates the Cowboys. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because you got teams like Washington football team, the Eagles, and the Giants, who are supposed to be doing this really kick-ass year this year, but then they come up to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys pull an upset on them. Okay? We've been known for doing this for quite a while, okay? Making it all the way to the playoffs. Never getting past game 1 or 2, which just frustrates all the other teams before the playoffs because they were supposed to have made it there. The Cowboys are the ones that snuff them all out before the other teams, the major teams that are on their way to the Super Bowl. They have to beat the Cowboys in order to get there. Everybody else that was supposed to make it up to the playoffs, well, it's usually an upset when they face off with the Cowboys, and they get knocked out or just taken down or whatever. And our Dallas Cowboys have a huge history of doing that. I honestly believe that's the sole reason why it should be called America's team. Because if you can't go around passing the Cowboys, I mean, you shouldn't be, you don't deserve the right to go into the football and to Super Bowl. But again, that's just the fan talking. That's just me talking, and I do apologize for that. What I don't apologize for is all the babbling bullcrap, the usual bullcrap about, the Cowboys are just wrong whenever something goes down. Cowboys are punched, thrown down, slammed, spun around and slammed into the ground every single tackle. Okay? Cowboys always gets that mistreatment. They're slammed, they're abused, they're punished, they're beaten, they're stomped, they're crushed, they're thrown, they're redirected into the ground, face first and all this other crap. Yesterday against the Giants, this young and upcomer, somebody called Kadarius Toney. He's been making these real badass moves and all this other garbage. And in the middle of a tackle, he tries zigzagging around 3 guys. He gets caught and then slammed to the ground. No differently than a cowboy. No differently than it would be if it was a cowboy trying to zigzag through 3 guys, getting caught and tackled, slammed into the ground. This dude, Kadarius Toney, jumps up and like a prima donna bitch, throws a fist at the guy that tackled the Dallas Cowboys. His name is Casey. Throws a fist at Casey, and, I guess he thought he was a badass or something, but he gets slammed to the ground again. Casey just holds him, and throws him down to the ground again. And everybody's, trying to push everybody else and all this stuff. And, there's a big guy on the New York thing. His last name is Hernandez. Because he's so big and husky, he thought he could push somebody around and all this other stuff. And he wound up getting pushed back another 10 yards until the refs finally broke it all up and all this stuff. And you see the coaches coming out from the sidelines telling everybody, come on, get back over here. You got this Hernandez fool getting thrown back 10 yards. You got Toney idiot, who punches like a little bitch. He went, he was just stupid. And everybody in the announcers table, of course, Troy Aikman and Joe, I forgot his last name, they've joined the bandwagon of spitting on the Cowboys. Troy Aikman himself, he used to be the quarterback of Cowboys back in the 90s, and he's retired and old and all this other garbage. So now he's just like, oh my God, the Cowboys, oh no. Joe Buck, I think his name is. Those fools are just like, my God, the Dallas Cowboys started it. And oh man, that poor guy Tony. He winds up getting disqualified. Nobody told that fool to throw a punch. Okay, let alone at somebody's helmet. Okay, let alone like somebody's helmet, like a little bitch. But now he's probably going home back to New York and being praised as some kind of hero or something. Because he threw a right hook to that guy and didn't really do anything. He wound up getting slammed into the ground again. But that was just stupid. And I gotta say it. Tony strikes like a little bitch. Tony punches like a bitch. I gotta say it because nobody else is going to. Nobody, especially out here in the media, in social media, where everything is about the most dramatic and all this stuff. The winner is the bad guy. The winner of the fight is the bad guy, especially if he's a Cowboy, Dallas Cowboy. So I have to throw a defense up there to number 18, KZ. Good job. Good job. You tackled him down. You did great. He tried sucker punching you. You threw him down again. Good job. And everybody that pushed off that Hernandez guy, who thought because he was just so massive, he can use his weight to push people off of Tony, and he wound up getting pushed back 10 yards. Fuck you, Hernandez. Fuck you, Tony. Okay, so that was yesterday's game. Yesterday's news: President Biden becomes the first president to mark Indigenous Peoples Day. I thought that was pretty good. And of course, all the critics are like, oh, you got Afghanistan, you got this and you got that and all this and stuff. What are you doing celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day? Blah, 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 blah. Fuck all of you and your bullshit. Especially the one who tried to go after Boston's mayor, Kim Janey. Some douchebag out in the crowd said, well, what about the Italian Americans? And the Boston mayor, she kept her cool. And she finished out signing the declaration claiming that this is Independence Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. October 11th, Indigenous Peoples Day. And then she kept her cool, signing the paper, gets up, goes right back to the microphone podium and says, we have no problem because we have no problem with it because the Italians have a rich culture and history also. And we've got no problem here in Boston celebrating both Indigenous Peoples Day and Christopher Columbus Day. And that was it. That was all that she needed to say. And the entire room just erupted with applause. And that leads me back to that douchebag that asked, what about American independence? Really, dude? Really? You have no Italian heroes. None. You have to worship this child rapist douchebag of history. This child rapist douchebag that claimed to have discovered a country that my ancestors already inherited. This child rapist that if it wasn't for one of the friars that had ratted on him, nobody would even know just how much of an actual criminal that sack of shit was. Seriously? We're gonna abolish you seriously? There is an Italian day. There is an Italian day in a cultural events, no different than the Asian Fest, no different than the Greek Fest. An Italian day, and you can't push aside Columbus, a fucking criminal, a historic child rapist criminal. Seriously? Making room for somebody like that, but yeah, you'd probably go ape shit if we Latinos nominated Pablo Escobar for a fucking thing, or celebrate everything cartel. These motherfuckers put price tags on little children also. You would go ape shit. We would go ape shit. So what the hell are you doing trying to defend that piece of shit that's known for his crimes, and spitting on your Italian culture, spitting on everything navigational and historic discovery and historic values, everything historic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, fuck this guy. What about the Italian Americans? Well, what about him? What about the Italian Americans? You seriously can't find an Italian American that hasn't done anything bad, that has actually lived up to a heroic status, an icon for everybody to remember? Honestly? Come on. I mean, we've got people like Anthony Fauci, who's an Italian right now. He's a freaking scientist, and he's helping the people right now. He's trying to save people from COVID. Even with his ups and downs, his foul ups and his successes, he's still dedicated to saving this country. You can't look at that Italian American? Or who are we kidding? What about the guy that was a part of the Manhattan Project? The guy that wound up stopping World War II dead in its tracks with the nuclear bomb, the Manhattan Project, Enrico Fermi. Okay? Enrico Fermi worked on radioactive elements and participated in the Manhattan Project, the nuclear bomb that wound up stopping World War II, that made us win World War II. You can't look at somebody like that? Okay, well, how about something that's non-political? How about something like a business guy? That Lee Iacocca, I think his name is. Lee Iacocca, just a guy in the automobile industry, okay, businessman, started off selling hot dogs out of a hot dog cart, wound up becoming a major player in the automotive industry, literally from rags to riches. You can't look at that Italian, Lee Iacocca, I think his name was. You can't look at that Italian American? I mean, come on, man. Or how about a woman one? Geraldine Ferraro. Geraldine Ferraro. This one was a congresswoman. She was a politician. I know it's going back to politician, but it's not the point. We're looking at a woman. Why don't you live up into the 2000s now? Why don't you move up into the second millennia? Notice a woman, Italian-American woman. Geraldine Ferraro. I think her last name is Ferraro. There's 3 R's in her last name, and I can't remember if it's the first two, Ferraro or Ferraro. I don't remember. Look it up. You got... And those are just people off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few Italians out there that are making a name for themselves. Better than this child rapist that you fucking worship. No, hell no. Fuck Columbus. Indigenous Peoples Day. What about the Italian Americans? Shut up. Now, okay, I'm going to calm down and move on to the third subject of today. Well, not today, but this has been going on since last week. Okay, we all know that China's CCP, which is the Chinese Communist Party, has taken over Hong Kong. It's sad and it's disgusting, and they call it the reunification with China. And unfortunately, after England left Hong Kong, China took over, and it was just this easy peasy thing for them to do. It's a very sad thing because Hong Kong was a very beautiful country at one point in time, and now it's just full of oppressed people, and it sucks. I wish that we could do something about that. Go to war? Fuck yes, let's go to war. I'm 48, but hell, put a gun in my hand. I'll fucking kill them. I'll fucking kill the Chinese soldiers. Right now, the CCP is trying to move to Taiwan in the name of reunification. Taiwan, which is its own country, no different than the Uyghurs, no different than those of Hong Kong. And Taiwan is its own country. And they've claimed they are not bowing down to China, or the CCP, I should say, because it's technically those assholes that are running everything over there in China. As you know, in some of my previous mentions, in some of my previous posts, CCP is not just attacking others; they're killing their own people. They've let a dam called the Three Gorges Dam break down, and just crumble over, while the water that was held up by the dam flooded the area on the other side of that dam. And it's on this very famous river called the Yangtze River. The Yangtze River has this beautiful story called the Red Cliff story, where a battle took place where some dictating douchebag tried to take over a kingdom called the Wu Kingdom, and could not, because of the position of that kingdom on the edges of Red Cliff. And it was an incredible fight for freedom. It just started a domino effect of the dictator's ruling collapsing, and that was all along the Yangtze River. And the Yangtze River is now, I mean, I'm thinking now it's drained out. But earlier this year it flooded, earlier this year it flooded and killed about 200,000 civilians. Now, about a quarter year after this, here in Texas, we're finding out through the efforts of those that are no longer accepting organ donors from China, that have actually been supplying organ donations here in our medical field here in Texas. It turns out that a lot of them are being bought from China, sold from China, and it's basically these organs that they've collected out of people that they've killed. More specifically, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, because the Chinese Communist Party is killing their own people, their own civilians, in order to get this job done. And that is one of the more serious level concerns there. That gives me reason to give props to the president of Taiwan, who's saying, no, we're not doing reunification, and keeping separate from the Chinese Communist Party. So yeah, I mean, we got quite a bit of problems coming from over there. That everybody speculated from time to time that's where the Third World War is going to be taking place, with everything that's happening over there in Asia, and I believe it. I believe it. I mean, you got this guy, well, it's not even the country, it's just this organization. It's this governmental organization. They're attacking the people in the Philippines, particularly the fishing market, posing as fishing vessels, attacking and pushing out Philippine fishing markets, the people that bring us the tilapia, which, I got no problem with Philippine tilapia. I mean, currently the best place to get it is the most efficient place to get it is at our Walmart's freezer section. I think HEB, which is a giant grocery here in Texas, the major grocery here in Texas, I think they even have a section of tilapia, Philippine tilapia. You got those fishermen that are giving us this great business, this great aquatic food, and they're being attacked at the same time by people who are following orders from the CCP. You got Taiwan that's being tested constantly with fighter jets and warships circling their island, and they're all under the orders of CCP. You had the attacks earlier that was done on at the India-Asia border, all under the orders of CCP. The Uyghurs, CCP, There's a bunch of Chinese civilians that are working for a living. They don't know what to do with this kind of crap. What can they do? They're trying to make a living. And the CCP is arresting people out of a state that wants to call itself its own country, separated from the Chinese, and they're getting arrested. They're getting taken to labor camps. A lot of them are going missing, while at the same time, the body organs we over here in the U.S. can buy, the best place to come from is from China, where they just got plentiful organs, hearts, livers, you name it, kidneys. They got it. This is some very serious concerns. So aside from the football thing that I mentioned earlier, and aside from my people's culture that's now finally being recognized in a total of, I think, 13 states, 13 out of 50. So we still got a couple of more states to go on. Despite of all the backlash from Italian Americans that honestly don't name any Italian heroes, but praise this Italian child rapist, disgusting sack of crap. Those facts aside, those subjects aside, we got this thing going on in Taiwan. Hopefully they're the brakes to stopping the CCP's bullcrap that's going on over there, that they're bringing onto all of Asia and effectively onto us, because we've got a lot invested over there. So that's pretty much it right there. It's October 11th. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Not to get it confused with November 26th, I think, which is Native American Heritage Day. Okay, that's everything concerned, not just Indigenous, but in particular concerning the Native Americans of America. Okay, North America, the U.S. Indigenous peoples involves everybody: Native American, Mesoamerican, Caribbean Islanders, and a couple of Pacific Islanders that are from the Americas, particularly like off of the Canary Islands and such. Although I do believe that because the United States is we have, because of Hawaii, Polynesian people can also celebrate this particular day. Even though, sure, there is a Hawaiian Day, an Aloha Fest, and all this good stuff. Yeah, there is. But at the same time, this is Indigenous Peoples Day. So it also involves the Polynesians as well. The Indigenous Polynesian as well. The Mauis and everybody concerning the Pacific Islanders. The Indigenous of the Pacific. So this is a good ceremonial day. It should be celebrated by all Indigenous people, because technically specified Indigenous tribes do have their own days, no differently than specified Christian days. Halloween, that is not a Catholic holiday, but it is a Christian one. It started with Christians that scared off evil spirits and stuff. Thanksgiving, that's not a Catholic holiday either. It's not a Mormon holiday. It's not any holiday. It is, however, Christian, I think Presbyterian based holiday. St. Patrick's Day. Okay, that's Catholic, but it's Catholic Irish. All these good different versions. And then of course we all go and celebrate Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day for Christ himself, the root of all Christianity, so that's what we got. We got specified holidays, specific holidays underneath one particular holiday that involves all of us. Now that you see that analogy, try to switch it over to what we of the indigenous descendants see. Indigenous Peoples Day is for everybody that is of an indigenous descendant, that is it has of an indigenous background or root, family tree, lineage, to celebrate and enjoy. My personal indigenous identity, which is what I am today. I am a Tex-Mex American, Latino, Hispanic, or I should say a Hispanic Latino, because Latino is the majority of it, of the Chicano lineage, which is just the modern day version of Mexica. So that's my identity: Tex-Mexican American, Hispanic of Latino, Hispanic Latino of the Chicano lineage. I know it's a long one, so I'll say it again: Tex-Mexican American, Hispanic Latino of the Chicano lineage. And the Chicano lineage originates out of the Hokan, which is over in the Baja California, Baja Mexico area, Coahuiltec, which is here in Texas, and the oldest of my indigenous lineage is Oaxaca, of the Mesoamerican, which is located in central Mexico. So that's my identity, how I'm celebrating my Indigenous Peoples Day, and I hope that everybody out there, if you got an identity or a lineage to the indigenous people, by all means share it, post it. No judging, and I promise to report any bad ones and block them. Y'all have a good one. Take care. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. It's going to take a while to get used to saying. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, and I hope y'all take care. Stay safe out there. We still got the Delta variant, but y'all take care. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.